Stratk pulling back the reins here, and we're going to a platinum matchup shortly here. This is going to be another Terran versus Protoss, and it looks like everybody picked the correct colors this time.
Oh, baby, look at that. All right.
So we have our second platinum match. This means we have 3 maps to go, ladies and gentlemen. Who is going to come out on top? It is 3-3 right now. Everybody tied up. Everybody ready to go. And ladies and gentlemen, I can't remember the name of this map.
Frost, buddy.
Thank you. Spawning in...
Spawning in the top left for Lucky 13, we have StudPuffin.
And his opponent, the Protoss player for Stratk Gaming, it is Nycro.
Ah, man. On this map, it's looking... could be a macro game, but Protoss, man, they do have the unique ability to warp in units anywhere on the map that they do have a pylon.
Indeed.
So gateway aggression is still very possible on a map like Frost, because no matter how big the map is, Protoss still has the ability to be aggressive. Very interesting mechanic for them.
Yeah, indeed. And the one thing that's always bothered me about warping, me and English today apparently don't get along. Sorry about that.
I think it's me, man. People just seem to stutter when I get into the call. What's up, words?
It's your beautiful voice. It's like honey to my ears. That warping is there's less cooldown for warping than there is for actually building the unit. It just seems.
I wasn't, trying to be mean. I think it actually could create some interesting situations in maps like this. I think maybe like the most thing that could be done to work is maybe have it a little bit higher up the tech tree, which I believe Starbo did. Very interesting. They put it like you have to have a Templar Archives to research warp gate.
Interesting here that StudPuffin does not have a barracks even building yet. He is going straight
14 CC.
Straight up command center first.
Now, the TVP version of the 14 CC consists of the command center going down on 14, followed by a 15 racks. Next up comes a 17 racks, and then you just macro for a little bit until you get to about 24 supply. That's when start happenings again. But Nycro is going to come back in and see this. He knows what's up, and he has pretty much every option open to him from here. He can do anything. It's up, second gas going down, so might take the aggressive option.
So yeah, we'll have to see. And there's still a chance that, well, probably not anymore now that the second gas is going down, that Nycro's going to do a gas.
Sorry. He does save the SCV that was building the command center. It looked like it might have gone down there for a second. But it does get repaired even, so even if he gets that last shot off, it's not going to matter. And he's going to lose the probe. Good repair by StudPuffin.
Indeed, but that does hold off the building command center for a little while.
Yes, but it also, I believe he wanted to use that probe for placing an aggressive pylon if he does choose to be aggressive. So losing that probe might have a bigger impact than we think. Depends on if there's going to be an expansion coming down anytime soon for Nycro.
Indeed, but it looks like Nycro is quite content right now, just building units and working on his macro. I don't see anything. Nycro still doesn't even have the mothership core. He just switched his probe into a mothership core there. So, good thing. You want to see that mothership core get out as soon as you can. Have it start gaining energy. And
probe heading down to the natural.
Yeah, there is a couple probes going out as well as a stalker. So, one stalker, one zealot.
Macro game for both players being chosen as the weapon of choice. StudPuffin, I would say, held a slight advantage, but he did lose a lot of time on that building command center. And these 2 units for the Protoss player are going to get by and probably kill this SCV again. Is the command center going to finish? Oh, it does finish, so there we go. Good for him. It's not going to be delayed any longer. But these units are just going to have free reign for a little bit until probably these next 2S Marines come out.
Yeah, I don't see anything coming out here. These 2 units are just going to try to take down these Marines here. Now that these units are trapped in this nice little choke point, they are going to be taken down by the Marines. Not as before, another SCV comes down and Nycro's like, oh, you don't have a full wall? Well, let me walk by and see if I can get another kill. Indeed, one more Marine does go down. Make that two more Marines go down.
That was good. Good for Nycro. That ended up working out.
And the Mothership
pretty much
Core
perfectly
now.
For him.
Mothership Core trying to get a couple extra shots off, and the Orbital at the Natural not actually rallied properly just yet. So some interesting mechanics there, and finally some additional gateways and a robotics facility going down for our Protoss player, who did indeed finally take his Natural.
I think that probably couldn't have gone any better for Nycro unless he had delayed that command center. If he had managed that, that would have pretty much just been perfect. Yeah, but the command center did finish. StudPuffin, I probably just went even on losing those 2 units in exchange for a bunch of Marines. More Marines than he should have gotten, but not too many.
In the end, both players are probably about an even point in this game here. Yeah. StudPuffin might have lost a couple workers, but he had his Orbital down and Mules and two command centers before his opponent had his second, where it's just really it's enough to let you macro back up.
We do see a Robobit coming down for Nycro, so it looks like Colossus is going to be his AoE of choice for the first part of the game. This Scouting Marine is going to see the Natural taken, so all of StudPuffin's worries are now going to float away gently in a river of dreams.
And we do have a small little attack there briefly at the Natural. I think StudPuffin was just trying to get a little bit of a scout off, see what was going on with his opponent's base. As both players here just content to macro up right now. Starport being thrown down by StudPuffin, so that factory is down. No real tech labs or reactors being thrown down. Great scouting information from Nycro, as that observer just goes right over all of that building, so Nycro knows exactly what his opponent is doing right now.
Nycro, with his all-seeing eye, does see all. He sees the missile turret going down, knows to back his observer out of there, and look at that. Scan, takes it out. So good for StudPuffin. He unfortunately didn't get it before, did get that scout off. But he did notice it at least, so it's not going to be getting all that free information, and it is going to be rebuilt.
And actually,
so that's
it looks
taking
like
time off the second Colossus.
StudPuffin actually built a missile turret in both of his mineral lines. Maybe he's scared of observers attacking his army? Or maybe he just wants
Oracles are seen maybe sometimes later than you would expect, especially I've seen people do Stargate off of an expansion and just for the unexpected factor.
As we have a drop coming, this is an 8 Marine drop, just kind of hanging out. It's going.
It is not going to be spotted before it lands, but the whole army in the Natural, Colossus, Mothership Core, all no damage is going to be dealt.
This army is going to get a nice scout, though. It's going to see that Colossus is there, immediately gets picked up, and it flies on back home. But a big scout there doesn't see the buildings, but sees the Colossus, and with the amount of damage his Marines took, he should know that that Colossus is indeed real. It is not a scare tactic.
And not killing a single probe did StudPuffin. So Nycro looking good.
And he only lost
third base, man. Not down for either player. So it looks like both of them are going to be choosing more aggressive 2-base builds with probable late thirds. We might be seeing 2-base Colossus all in out of Nycro, and 8 barracks is definitely it's my preferred option. And maybe followed with an SCV pull. It might be against... Oh, there's the third CC, but against Colossus, SCV pulls can do very well. And the third going down for Nycro as well. So it's like this is going to be 2-base Colossus.
An additional 3 gateways coming down for our Protoss player.
And yeah, I think StudPuffin needs to throw down his engineering bay and his second engineering bay in his armory. So get ready for those next upgrades, because it does look like both of them are going to end up going with the third and not be aggressive. But it is interesting because usually when you see 8 barracks, it does lend itself more to a bit more of a 2-base aggression build. But the third CC going down immediately.
So, but there is that drop finally sees something he can do. Going after this base hard, it is trying And a liftoff goes
Uh-oh.
right over the
Goes
right over
right
the
over
stalkers
the
into
Protoss
its
stalker.
death, and that is a free 10 supply.
Unfortunate for StudPuffin, but Nycro not losing anything there. Third just lost a little bit of shield. I don't think it took any damage. Oh, it took 15
It did take
hit
some
points
hull
of damage.
Did take
So,
some hull damage.
those Marines, man, you know, you never know. Sometimes I see Nexi survive with 1 health, so maybe that 15 health could be a
Yeah,
difference
so
later in the game.
One upgrades are finished for our Terran player. Our Protoss player is working on his 2-2 right now. He does have Thermal Lance. If you take a look at the upgrades here, he also has Zealot Charge, which is going to be very helpful. And the Protoss player actually only working on his 0-2 right now. He's not working on 2-2, excuse me. He does have Storm on the way, so High Templar and Archon's able to be coming out. Nycro just poking at his opponent's third, seeing if it's there, but he poked at exactly the wrong time. As soon as he walks away, StudPuffin says, "Hello, I have a base. Look at it. It's
Still,
pretty."
he does see that it's not down yet, so nothing for him to be worried about in terms of being behind.
Oh,
and these Vikings, very large Viking count.
Vikings not able to get any kills off, though.
But it looks like they might be going hunting. Is Blink done? No, he just has charge. He didn't get Blink. So these Vikings are going to be a little bit safer than otherwise, just roaming around. Oh, and he's going to take out this pylon, so no reinforcements anymore on this side of the map. But the large amount of High Templar have been warped in. Storm's about to finish. It's going to time out well with 75 energy
And
for Psionic Storm. So we're going to be seeing...
This is about even right now. Supplies are about even. Both players are about even on their upgrades. Maybe a slight upgrade lead going to StudPuffin. But StudPuffin still with a very...
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Oh, and this Nycro getting a nice little split here. Gets the StudPuffin's army split up. These two Widow Mines trying to land. One Widow Mine does get off. Oh, goes off in exactly the wrong spot on a Zealot and gets some splash on the Vikings. The Storms on the bio again, just annihilating everything. Now these Stalkers trying to clean up what's left. StudPuffin almost under 100 supply, going to fall under 100 supply soon here. Does have an Archon morphed in, no Storms yet available, still has 1 Colossus. Is he going to push anywhere else?
Man, the AoE was so heavily in Nycro's favor that StudPuffin's own Marine betrayed him.
Yeah, and then that one Widow Mine that went off on the Zealot that was underneath all of the Vikings.
Not only that, but the Storms as well do very big damage to Vikings.
And a lot of aggressive pylons coming down here. 4 pylons coming down from Nycro. He does not want to have to rebuild the pylons, and he also was, I think, a little bit supply blocked there. Could probably use a couple additional Archons. I expect we'll see some High Templar warped in and probably morphed into Archons very shortly there. And indeed, that's exactly what we see, an additional 2 Archons, 1 High Templar, and so there goes the Marine off to the death, probably just trying to check out the army composition. But now with these Archons on the field, I'm not sure what StudPuffin is going to be able to do. He doesn't have many Vikings anymore, only 3 Vikings out. And it actually loads up and tries for a drop, but he knows that that army is still out of position, and then there's that 1 Widow Mine.
4th base is well coming down for Nycro on the other side of the map, so he's looking.
And here comes
very,
the push.
very
This
strong.
Widow Mine in the front's going to go off on a Archon. Takes down that Archon real quick. Not the greatest storm there. It's actually going to do a little bit more damage to the Archon. These Colossus are doing work on the SCVs and the bio of our Terran player, but StudPuffin is pushing back. He is holding with the SCVs. 3 hallucinated Colossi in the mix, trying to show what they show more superiority. They do get focused down first. This army is now starting to swing in favor of Nycro. Nycro able to take down one of the medvacs. Let's see if there is
that drop on the other side of the map. Did kill a couple of workers.
It did force in a warp-in. It forced the warp-in of Zealots into his opponent's base, and now these Zealots have to come all the way to sync up with his army. It looks like a couple High Templars were warped in. Back at the aggressive pylons for Nycro. Probably going to change those into Archons. Might just leave them and try to get the energy. They're very close at the 65 energy mark.
What would be absolutely devastating for StudPuffin is even if just 2 or 3 Zealots just went into that 3rd base mineral line, because he can't leave to defend it. He would just have to pull all his SCVs back.
This is very interesting. Let's check real quick on Nycro. See, Nycro still does not know about the third base. So if Nycro went into that third base would just be demolished. And now it looks like Nycro is going to check that third base, and that third base is going to go down. Nothing, I don't think, is going to survive. Nothing's being pulled. No. Nycro splitting his army a little bit. These Zealots, though, doing work on the charge thoughts against Bio. Just going to town, ripping them to shreds, and StudPuffin about to fall under 100 supply. Vikings trying to get at the Colossus, but they are being killed. We need to zoom out. Some Ghosts in the mix here, throwing down some nice little EMPs, hitting the Templar, but the Templar aren't even the worst option right now. StudPuffin down to 84 supply. Nycro finally coming back with his Zealots. Widowmine gets a nice little shot off, but at this point I think it is just Nycro doubling the supply of StudPuffing, so expect to see a GG soon, and Stratk Gaming looks like they are going to take their first lead of the series. 4 games to 3 as StudPuffing is now down under 40 supply. Nycro.
Very nice comeback for Stratk from
nice
down 3-0.
Play by Nycro. 3-0 on his units.
StudPuffin with the never give up mantra, or maybe he's just trying
you never
to
know.
The loss, but
Nycro's internet may just drop out and they'll need a regame.
I guess he was hoping for that drop to do something, but it does get taken out. The Warpin now coming down, and there is now no hope.
There is the GG. Well played by StudPuffing. Some great play out of both of these players. So, yeah, we are... where's my right button? There it is. So Stratk taking the lead, the first lead of the series, 4 games to 3 now, as we head into our third gold matchup. Is Lucky 13 going to take it? Or will this third gold matchup go to Stratk for the win of the week?
Match point here for Stratk. Let's see if our Stratk player can take it out. And, ooh, look at this. Some more TVP action.
Back on Yansu here, ladies and gentlemen. It is going to be a Terran in your favorite color, Fox.
Yeah, pink. Pink power. And it is one of my favorite Terran players on Lucky 13, Couchy.
Spawning in the northeast position.
Yes,
His
and
opponent.
in the bottom left,